Welcome back to the Super Not Funny Show reviews. And today, me and Lottie are going to be talking about My Adventures with Superman, Episode 7. It's entitled Kiss Kiss Fall in Portal, and it's coming to you from HBO Max. So, what do we think about it, and should you be watching? And before we get into the review, get down there, hit like on this video. Lottie, I have to say, My Adventures with Superman, I think I said it before, they're speed running. They're speed running a lot of the stuff in the Superman mythos. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah.
Oh.
That would be definitely a fair assessment. It's kind of crazy. Like, they're definitely not following what you will think is the regular storyline of Superman. They are just saying, hey, if you have to be a fan of Superman to keep up with what's going on, because if you're not, you will be like, what the hell is going on? Which is not a bad thing.
Well, I think at the very least they're not doing like the Dragon Ball Z, 3-episode powering up sequence thing. As far as like, Jimmy, Superman, Clark, Lois, that whole little dynamic. And in this I love in this episode that he's literally just like, hey, let's go back to Smallville. You'll get to see all the alien stuff, and of course, Jimmy's he's nuts for that, and just introducing them really to that side of his life, and then they go back, go back to Metropolis. Going to be a big date for Clark and Lois. That's what the thing about saying about speed running is. We don't have to wait for years for them to finally decide, I guess we'll date. It's straight up, we like each other, let's go do this. And Jimmy's sort of us watching them, the two of them obsess over how they're gonna, make everything perfect. Which of course, this is, Superman's life. Nothing's gonna be necessarily perfect because, out of the blue, some people in a sci-fi really way kind of kidnap Jimmy and Lois, and now at the same time a very suspicious looking floating guy gets Clark to kind of go along to save them, and then it turns into some big multiversal mix-up, if you will, that I think, in my opinion, kind of like ramps this not just this episode but this series up to the next level. Because as far as I'm concerned, like a lot of people doing multiverse right now, that's fine. Everyone understands that, but I think the reason why it ramps it up is because they are showing the breadth and depth of not just the DC universe, but Superman's his rogues gallery, and also just how important actually his side characters actually are. Like they go out of their way to let you know, like, hey, Lois and Jimmy are fucking important, to the Superman, and they do it explicitly in this one, and they bring out, I mean, honestly, one of the few bad guys, if you will, that make Superman work, like Mr. Mxyzptlk, I can never say his word right.
Mr. Mxyzptlk.
That thing. I never say his name right. And it's like this is a big episode considering it's only 20 something minutes long. I think a lot of stuff happens in it, and there's a lot of implications at the end of it that when we talk spoilers, we'll talk about. But I don't know. What did you think about this one?
Yeah, I like the episode. It's cool that I'm really liking how they're like, it's almost like, I said this for another show. It's almost like, oh yeah, it was like we were talking about for Harlan. It's like the people are like, all right, let's send in a patch. We know that people are asking to give Jimmy some more time, so we're gonna make Jimmy even more important. Thank God, because I'm actually enjoying seeing Jimmy on screen a lot more, and I'm like, thank God he's actually in the show instead of just being a third wheel.
Right. He's not a third wheel. He's not the cock block. He's not like he was early on. I was like, please don't let that be your only qualities. And actually, you know, at the end of the episode, my man read the room correctly and like just rides out and like, hey, y'all go do your thing. He's a good best friend, like straight up. I mean, yeah, he was bothered by not knowing about Clark earlier, but that's all put aside, right? Because as soon as you show alien tech, he's happy, you know. And you know, spoiler, some multiversal, you know, a League of Loises comes out and says, we need you, you know, we need your help, and he's like all over it. I mean, he's a kid in a candy store.
Yep.
But also, he's not just like a hanger on. Just like Lois, he and Lois are really integral to what ends up happening in this episode. That they are threading this needle just right, because Superman by himself is an OP character, right? And yet somehow he needs Lois and he needs Jimmy to accomplish things, right? And I love that they are making sure that that's what we're seeing. It's not Superman. This is my adventures with Superman, not just Superman. So we get both of them, and they are both important. I really, and I know people are tired of all the multiversal stuff, but I mean, who saw a League of Loises, you know, from across the multiverse, who are dealing with multiversal problems like Mr. Mxyzptlk, whatever. Why can't I say his name right? I was like, that's actually amazing. And if you don't like that, something's wrong with you. You don't like comic books then, because I mean, seriously, Lois Lane being the person that decides to have a multiversal, you know, law enforcement agency. Come on.
One thing I will say though is that they're doing a good job, but man, they're just going in guns first. And I'm like, okay, I understand not every Superman is good, but damn, I mean, you just want to make an enemy of him before you even get to know him? Shit.
Well, that's the great thing is, you know, we see him go up against them, and the Loises know what's up. So it seems to me like the League of Loises probably exist to sort of deal with any Kal-Els that get out of line, that get too far out of line. You know, that, and of course these evil Kal-Els probably subjugate their universes or something to that effect. But these Loises have like their, you know, their countermeasures. I mean, they capture you know, Mxyzptlk, right? They capture him, so they must know something. They've got some skills. But it's kind of messed up how they made Lois feel like she was less than. Because these are all like, they're superstars, and they're, you know, they get things done real early and so forth and so on. And she's just like, I'm not good enough for something. And yet she actually ends up being the one that, you know, captures the bad guy, and, you know, or helps capture the bad guy and gets them all out of trouble. And I think that was pretty cool, because I mean, she already feels bad. She's just an intern. But to see that somebody got a Pulitzer when they were 19 or some shit like that, I mean, she feels like she's nothing. And, you know, I just like that, even though that may have been the case, you know, they still show that she's valuable. But it is messed up. Did they not just do the Across the Spider-Verse on this shit? Like, yeah, you're not a good enough Lois. It's just like, really? Well, I just saw this.
Yeah, that was one of the things I said the same thing. I was like, I don't know about this one. I mean, I'm not upset with what I saw, but it was just one of those things that like you said, is just like, I don't know, this could have been done
it's a coincidence. Obviously
yeah.
They wrote this a while ago, but it's just a coincidence. But still, I thought it was interesting. Also, I like that Jimmy and his, you know, female counterpart in the Loises, how that was the only other flame bird in the whole. I love that a gender bent version of himself was in there and helped them get out. I'm like, come on, yeah. Of course, because I like this Jimmy and the gender bent one. I like that he found his basically another one of himself, so he doesn't feel like he's such a weirdo. Just I like this episode. I liked it a lot actually. I just think it did everything it needs to, and it lays down, track for the future. I've been trying to figure out like where are you guys heading with this? Like obviously they're gonna be clashing with General Lane and Amanda Waller and Task Force X, and there's some history, some Kryptonian helped encounter them, and now they have countermeasures and everything. But I don't think we had seen really, really what they were talking about, why they were doing, Task Force X is doing all this stuff, and now Lois sees like all these alternate universes where Kal-El is horrible. We may even get.
So here's my one question though. That was talked about in the episode, but they kind of just glossed over it. That them opening that portal caused Mxyzptlk to escape. How? Like, and what happened? How did they know about that? That's the thing where I was just like, okay. Like when they mentioned that, I was just like, okay, this is not something you just go, oh, there we go, make a joke and go right past. You're like, wait, what? That did that and that. Wait, hold up. You can't just skip over this.
Well, I think it's pretty clear that he knows how to exploit their security, but also that he's like Q from from Star Trek. He's just he finds this interesting, and unlike in most of the time in the comics, he finds Kal-El, finds Superman interesting. No, in this one, he finds Lois interesting, and he wants to see what happens when she finds out more about what's really going on. That I think is a twist on this, the normal story that I think we should be paying more attention to. Remember, I said this is My Adventures with Superman. This is not. It's focused on not just Clark, but also Jimmy and Lois, and they appear to be far more important in this story than they have, maybe been portrayed in other, TV or cartoons or stuff like that. Like way more important. And that League of Loises is just, I think, the tip of the iceberg about what role they're going to play in this show going forward. So, but we'll see. Well, I cannot wait to see more of Mxyzptlk, whatever. He was fun. I think I texted you. I was like, it's like, what if Scanlan was in Dragon Ball Z? And I feel like that's about right as far as his character.
Scanlan's hair.
Yeah, exactly. I kept wanting to say that the whole time I watched it. It's good. It's good stuff. I thought it was a really well realized character. So. Hopefully we'll see more of him. So anyway, I think that's all of our thoughts on this episode. But what did you guys think about it? What did you think about what we had to say? Get down to the comment section, leave your thoughts there. And of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. And while you're down there, hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. All that stuff helps to grow this channel and helps more people to see these videos. All right, thanks for joining us. Come back next time. We're going to be talking about episode 8 of, I can't believe it, episode 8 of My Adventures with Superman. Until then, I've been Mo, your comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Lottie. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.